my hair at the top of my head, how it's like, this is like a little poof. Anyway, hey friends, Allison Ramirez here, Christian author, editor, and content creator, here today with a book inspiration video. I'm going to link below and at the end of this video the other videos I've done in this series where I have shared the inspiration behind various books I have written. So this one is Cultivate Faith. This is book number 3 out of 4 in my Rosary invitation series. I cannot wait to have all 4 books lined up because they have beautiful flower covers and they have this same look of a rosary going across the top. So when they're all 4 side by side, it's gonna look so pretty. Anyway, if you are someone who struggles with inspiration in your writing, or you just find that you don't really know why you're writing the book you're writing, I hope this video is helpful. Basically, in a nutshell, this is a book on the sorrowful mysteries of the Rosary. If you're not familiar with the prayer of the Rosary, there are 4 different sets of mysteries, which are basically sets of Bible stories that the reader prays and meditates with as they ask Jesus, Mother Mary to walk alongside them. And so this book follows Jesus' final days on this earth, looks at his agony in the garden, looks at his arrest, betrayal, his scourging at the pillar, his being crowned with thorns, carrying the cross up to Calvary, and ultimately his death. And so this book, as you can see here, I don't know if you can read the actual subtitle, but basically this book is about cultivating the virtue of faith. There are 3 theological virtues: faith, hope, and love. So cultivating the first of those, faith, through humility. Humility, humility, humility. So humility was the theme that really inspired this book because in 2023, that was a year of sorrows for me. It was a year of really deep suffering. I won't go into the ins and outs and the logistics of that year, but safe to say, when you look at my whole life so far, you look at the year of 2023, it was a year unlike any other year so far. And it really tested me, and it was really a year of trials and having to just be all in with God to be able to carry me through that. And I found that in that time when I was going through so many hardships, when I was thinking about myself all the time, which is pride, right? One of the capital sins, always consumed and self-obsessed and self-absorbed and preoccupied with my own trials and struggles, I found that actually heightened my sufferings. However, when I cultivated a disposition, of humility, which basically humility is a virtue that is, it's not thinking less of yourself, as some people might think, but it's thinking of yourself less. So throughout my days, I tried to pour myself into the people around me, different activities I was in, my work, but most importantly, my faith. And just praying and meditating on Jesus and his sufferings and his life, that actually drew me outside of myself. So instead of just being fixated on my own struggles and problems, I was able to look beyond that with a disposition of humility. So this is easier said than done. I was not perfect at it by any means during that season, but this book really just dives deep into humility, which a lot of the saints and well-known theologians and people of faith have said that humility is the bedrock on which all other virtues are able to grow and flourish. If you are not starting from a place of humility, which is realizing that everything you have, all that you are, is totally dependent on God, and there's so much peace in that, but it also requires surrender and trusting that your way of seeing the world, your way of doing things, your desires at the end of the day are in submission to God and his desires and his will. And that even though we're fighting against that all the time because we want what we want, when we do finally humble ourselves, we actually experience the deepest amount of freedom and the deepest amount of peace. And basically, that's a lot of what I'm talking about in this book. And that was my inspiration because I felt that when I have an inspiration, a theme for each of my books, I actually grow in whatever my theme is as I'm writing the book. If you're familiar with my second book in this series, Gathered Together, the theme was all about friendship. And during that time in my life, I was trying to really cultivate friendships. I was putting myself in more community environments, being more out there with people. And that really blessed my life in that season. When I was working on the first book, The Joyful Mysteries, on peace, when I was going through stress and anxiety, that was a season where writing a book on peace really helped me. So weirdly, sometimes, I don't know if it's the same with fiction, but with nonfiction books, as you're writing a book, it can almost be therapeutic. It can also be calling you to something deeper and something more for whatever you're writing about, because you want to be authentic, right? In your writing, you want to write from the heart, and you want to write true lessons and messages and stories that are going to resonate with readers. So if you are also walking through that season, or you've been through that season, your words are going to be that much more strong and that much more appealing to your reader. Hebrews 11:1 states that faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. So a lot of people might say that faith is, oh, like faith is just this abstract idea or just this blind faith. There's no solid basis for it. But ultimately, faith, it is a hope for something that we don't see. That's why it's faith, right? If you're going through a hard time, you have faith that it's not always going to be like this, right? That things are going to get better. Maybe not in the way that all the ways you hoped or desired, but you still have that faith that you are not alone, that God is with you, that there's people in your life who can help you. And ultimately, right, for the theological virtue of faith, we are grounding that faith in God. We are grounding that faith in Jesus Christ. And we are not just relying on our own self to get us through life and just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That can only take you so far, especially when you feel like you've hit ground bottom. And there's a beautiful connection between faith and humility that I really work through in this book, and talking about how the two really inform one another. And I have stories from my own life. This was the book that I would say the most vulnerable. Like every one of my Rosary invitations, after each mystery, I share a personal story from my own life, very short, just 2 to 3 pages. Each of these stories are so close to my heart as I share sufferings in my own life and in the lives of others that I know. And I also have meditations, I have prayers, I have discussion questions, journaling questions. It's just very interactive book. You don't have to be at the bottom of the barrel at this point in your life, like just everything's going terrible for you. But whether or not you were in a season of joy or a season of desolation, you are going to, at some point in your life, experience sufferings. It's just inevitable, just like you are going to experience joys and consolation. So this is a great book if you are in those hard seasons, or if you anticipate or know that you will be at some point. I just hope that you'll check out this book, and with your own writing, make sure that you know the why. What is your inspiration? Why are you writing this book? Is it because someone else wants you to write it? Is it because you think it's what's going to be popular in the genre or the market? Or have you really prayed and discerned, and you feel like, you know what, at this point in my life, based on what I've gone through, I feel that I'm being called to write this particular book. I think that the Lord has really called me to that. Just pray about it, discern, and always have in the back of your mind, this is my why. This is my inspiration, because that will keep you going when the writing gets hard and you want to quit and you want to throw in the towel. If you know your reason why, then the what and the how become easier. So I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching today. Here's a link if you want to check out all my Rosary invitation books. And here's a link to the other book inspiration videos I've written. So I hope you'll give this video a like and a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. Bye for now.